So welcome everybody to the April edition of the 21CM Digital Marketing Meetup. We have a great program tonight. We have students from the CSUMB Digital Marketing Seminar, a dozen students who've been doing great projects through the semester, and they're here to present those projects of doing digital advertising for three area nonprofits. So welcome everybody, and move forward here. So these meetups we run each month to explore different aspects of digital marketing. We've been running these for about 2.5 years now. In case you missed it, we are online. So a couple things, as if you all aren't professionals at this point at being online. You can use chat. If you put questions in chat, we will pass them on to the presenters. So that's a good way of getting chat in. You can also speak. Nobody is stopped from speaking, but you will have to unmute yourself to do that. We are recording. If you would prefer not to be seen in the recording, keep your camera turned off, but otherwise we'd love to have your camera on so we can see who's out there. It's really nice knowing that there are live faces out there to be talking to. Oh. All right. There we go. And here's the team that puts this together every month. My name is Brad Barbeau. I am the CEO of 21CM. I'm also a professor of entrepreneurship at Cal State Monterey Bay and director of our Entrepreneurship Institute, the Institute for Innovation and Economic Development. Our graphic designer is Anjika Granager. Anjika, say hello. You have to unmute yourself to say hello.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm happy you're here. And welcome.
Fabulous. And Lynette Lathrop, project manager for us. Lynette, say hello.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
There we go. Bridget Cotton, social media. Bridget.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
And Bridget is also one of the students in the seminar, so she'll be part of presenting tonight. And our web developer, Pernilla Dahl. Pernilla, are you out there?
Hello, I'm here.
There you are. Cool. So that's our team. Welcome. So we always like to take a moment and get to know each other, but if we go through introductions, we won't get through the evening. So if you would introduce yourself in chat, say a little about who you are. If you're with a company, you can advertise the company. If you're with CSUMB, you can say how wonderful CSUMB is, and especially if you're the chair of the College of Business, you can say that. Welcome, Mary Lou. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Fabulous to have you. Let's see if I can find, and we've got people putting their introductions into chat. Where did my chat go? There it is. Excellent. And Moira from the Monterey County Film Commission, and Jeff Clark, also from the Monterey County Film Commission. Welcome to you two. Wendy Brickman, owner of Brickman Marketing, a very special guest. Welcome. Good to have you here. Okay, let you continue. Gordon Ho, board of the Coalition of Asian Pacifics in Entertainment, CAPE. We're going to hear about CAPE tonight because they were one of the projects, and he's the principal of Expertainment. I love that, Expertainment. All right. And now let's begin. We're going to roll right into our main program tonight. We're going to find out about Google Ads. Why are we going to find out about Google Ads? Because Google's selling a lot of ads these days. They're selling so many ads that this showed up on my news feed about an hour ago. They reported sales today, sales records for the first quarter, fueled by a surge in digital ad spending. And I'm told, Blake said that their share price went up by 4%. And I said, well, we know why their share price went up, because our students are now doing digital ads, so they know that it's going to make the company successful. So congratulations, all of you, on driving the stock price up for Google. I should have bought it. Okay, so the students we have been working with 3 nonprofits: New Way Homes, Cape USA, and CASA of Monterey County. And they are going to report on the digital ad campaigns, how they put those together. And before we hear from them, we'll get a little bit of a tee up about how this seminar was set up and worked. And get this into present mode. And there we go. Jenny, you're up.
All right. Thank you, Brad, for having us presenting here at 21st Century Marketing Meetup. I'm Jenny Kwan, and you can see me in the chat window. I am an entrepreneurship faculty at CSUMB. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about, introduce this class that we did, and you're about to hear from the students in a minute. And kind of talk a little bit about this incredible collaboration that we've gotten across the college business and also with outside partners, really amazing partners, and give you a little background on the class and how it came about and why. So the idea came about, let me first talk about the class itself. So we did it, we're in the end stages of spring semester, and we are using the Google Ad Grants program, which is a free program that Google offers to college student teams who have a faculty advisor. So we turn that into this class. We are piloting it this spring, and what the program offers is $10,000 in ad credits. So again, this is all free from Google for a 4-week campaign where you do this campaign for a nonprofit organization. Now, normally the way the program works is you get a student team with a faculty advisor, and Google matches you up with a nonprofit who wants to be part of this program. But what we did was we requested specific local nonprofits to be matched up with. So that was a little extra step, but it will, and you're about to hear about those nonprofits. Now, why does Google do this? It's so that you get a bunch of students learning how to use their analytical tools, but it prepares them for some pretty high-paying digital marketing jobs. But at the same time, this is like a win-win-win for Google. It introduces a lot of nonprofits to Google's marketing tools. So this is a good way that Google has, they're very generous, but they're getting a lot in return, which is a bunch of trained students and a bunch of nonprofits using their product. Okay, so next slide. This idea arose when about 6 months ago, when Tim Cottrell is a local entrepreneur. He's the CEO of card.com, and he was a guest speaker in my entrepreneurship class. And he talked about the value of digital marketing for his business and why he pays high salaries to smart, analytical young people. And it's because it's worth it. They do a really great job, better even than some of the outside agencies he's tried. So when I heard that there was this cool opportunity for really good jobs for students coming right out of college, I got really interested. And this is in a marketing area, so I connected with my colleague in marketing, Jenny Lynn. So that's the next slide, Brad, or next frame, who is also here tonight. And I asked her if this was a topic in her marketing classes. It's not something they had time to do, but she was intrigued about the idea. So we met with Tim and talked about, what the opportunities were, the kinds of analytical skills that he uses in his business. And while we were talking, Jenny talked about something she had looked at, which is this Google Ad Grants Challenge program for college kids. And she kind of didn't know what to do with it, but it looked interesting. And that is how we hatched the idea of creating a class around this program. Tim has nonprofit clients, so we also thought we could, connect with his clients to do this program. Now, Jenny and Brad already have a marketing series. So that's the next slide. Which is a series that Brad started a couple years ago on digital marketing topics. So back in fall of 2019, they studied search engine optimization and marketing. Then the semester after that, online advertising, and then most recently building e-commerce sites. So this is the course that followed that series. And so this is the Google ad campaigns. Next slide. So I figured my job was done. So I was just going to pass this off. No such luck. I am actually one of the instructors here. As luck would have it, though, I was emailing with a college buddy of mine who is a chief marketing officer of Princess Cruises, Gordon Ho, who is here tonight. So and he had left Princess Cruises for obvious reasons during the pandemic, but he, agreed to work with our students because at Princess they did a lot of digital marketing, exactly this kind of search marketing that we are doing with the Google Ad Grants program. And his involvement has been really invaluable. I, for one, have been taking notes whenever he comes in and lectures to the class, but he's also advising a group. So he's actually doing a lot more work than he probably signed up for. So thank you, Gordy, and thank you for being here tonight. But that's not all we had. We were connecting with the Startup Launchpad company. So we have one of the companies you'll hear from tonight is a startup that is a nonprofit, and so they are one of our clients. Jenny Lynn also connected with our faculty member here who teaches nonprofit management, Joy Ruby, who lectured, really great lecture on nonprofit marketing. And last but not least, Jenny connected to an amazing nonprofit consultant who consults on exactly this stuff, the Google Ad Grants marketing through our the Business Advisory Council. So Jessica has been just a really incredible asset to our students and to this class. So this is the cast of characters that have supported the students that you're about to hear from. And it's been just an incredible fun collaboration that came together really, really quickly. And I, for one, have learned a ton, and I think you're going to see what the students have learned in a minute. So next slide. One thing to note for people who are interested in the Ad Grants program, you don't have to work with the college students. The Ad Grants program is open to all charitable nonprofits, and it is that same $10,000 a month in ad grant credits. So this is something that we have done a lot of learning about, and you're about to learn what we've learned. But this is a program that is free to nonprofits, and it's a program that they've developed separately a related program for the college students that you're about to hear from. So anyway, Brad, I want to thank you again for featuring the students, and thank also all of our collaborators in the community who came together to make this possible.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jenny, so for that great introduction. So let's roll forward to the challenge, and we're going to be led off here by the group who did the campaign for New Way Homes. Let me get this into present mode. And take it away, New Way Homes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am represented with my team, who consists of Bridget, Ryan, myself, Kennedy, and Derek, and we were fortunate enough to work with New Way Homes. New Way Homes creates affordable and below market rate housing through a new scalable solution. Through impact investments, New Way Homes is working to end the housing crisis in California. The affordable housing crisis in California affects our most impoverished and underserved communities. With the help from crowdfunding and accredited investors, New Way Homes can create more affordable housing units by partnering with nonprofits who have unused land and properties. We unlock potential and increase housing equity for all. Ending housing insecurity and homelessness is the main goal. So they want to make, the underhoused dreams a reality. And a huge part of this is building on land that is owned by nonprofits. Thus, property taxing is not included. So we began our contact with our nonprofit prior to matching within Google. We had to create a manager account that helped us obtain a 10-digit code. This 10-digit code allowed us to request one another through Google's manager accounts and through our previous student dashboard that we had to create before our manager account. And once they requested our 10-digit code, we were able to connect, and that allowed us to link our manager accounts. Therefore, we could create access and create our actual ads and see what they have done previously within Google. So the difficult part about this was actually the setup and account linking. Manager accounts can only be created with a Gmail domain. Eventually, you can add a different domain and have admin under multiple access points, but you have to have a manager account that is under a Gmail. So we ended up having personal accounts that we had attached to a lot of other things within business, so it was okay for us, and eventually added CSUMB as a domain. But you want to have to go into sub account settings and you link existing accounts, and you, again, that 10-digit code that is provided right next to my name up there is your lifeline through this entire account linking. You want this 10-digit code by you at all times.
Okay, so when designing a campaign, Google will have you choose which type of campaign you would like to have. This can be a search campaign, display campaign, video, and a few other options. The video campaign is, of course, a video that would follow a customer around the web that matches with who you're trying to target. The display ad is similar to the video, except that it will be a picture ad that you create. For Google Ad Grants, however, we were required to do a search ad, which are the text ads that appear at the top of a search page when a customer is searching for something. And when deciding how you want to reach your target audience and what you want them to do after they click on your ad, you can choose goals like website traffic, phone calls, store visits if you have a store, app downloads if you have an app, and so on. You can choose more than one of these, though. We chose website traffic for New Way Homes because they wanted their audience to be able to go to their crowdfunding page on WeFunder through a link to their own website. There's a link to that crowdfunding page on their actual website. You will also want to add ad extensions Google Ad Grants requires that we add at least 2 site link extensions. These are extremely important because Google will give you a campaign and ad quality score, and ad extensions will help increase your score by a good percentage. The score matters because that will affect your bidding competitiveness when bidding against other organizations for your ad to show up under certain search results. We added site link extensions for New Way Homes, which are just different pages on the website. These extensions show up underneath the headlines on the ad and act as a link to those different pages. The other extensions offered didn't really apply to New Way Homes and their needs, so we weren't able to use them. However, you can use them. If you can use them, you should, because they will increase your quality score. And then next we'll look at the keywords. The keywords are arguably the most important part of the campaign. These are the phrases that you will create that you think should lead a search to what you're offering. Google will give some recommendations, but you should definitely be creating more of your own. For this program, Google doesn't want you to use single words or branded words or phrases. That's just against their policy. As you can see in the picture, we created specific phrases like affordable housing builders. We used ones like impact investing and California housing crisis. We use those to match certain different audiences, which are investors and impact investors. That was one of our audiences. And then people who just want to make a social impact in their communities. These keywords should also match content on your organization's website, because then Google will be more likely to show your ad to potential customers. That is why it is important to have a robust website with a large amount of content that match keywords that you want to use. Without a good website, your chances of success are lowered. So that would definitely be the first step that you want to do before you actually look into this. New Way Homes has a website with not very much information. So in the beginning, our keywords didn't perform as well as maybe they could have, though we did see some pretty good success. And when creating the ad groups, you want to have separate ad groups for who you would like to target. You want to add keywords to these ad groups to match who you are targeting. For Google Ad Grants, Google requires that you have at least one campaign with 2 different ad groups. When creating ads in the ad group, Google will have you create 1 responsive search ad and 2 regular text ads. The responsive search ad is important because you'll be able to add up to 10 different headlines, and Google will pick the 3 that match a customer for the most for what they're searching for. Then you can add descriptions, and then when creating the headlines and descriptions, you'll still want to add keywords that are in your ad group to the headlines, and the descriptions actually have those words in there, because this improves your ad strength and score. So hopefully at this point, you should have your keywords matching on your keyword list, your website, your ad headlines, and your different ad groups. Finally, Google will have you set up a conversion tracking tag to add to your website domain. This is very important because it will gather data to help you understand what your customers are doing after they click on your ad. This also increases the campaign's optimization score, which helps with ad performance and hopefully converting leads. We were unable to add the conversion tracking tag, unfortunately, to the New Way Homes website, but it is still a very useful tool.
All right, so once we actually designed the campaign and then launched it, we would let it run for at least a week, maybe a few days to a week, just so you can see some results. And we want to see how well we're performing. So Google Ads really makes this easy for you to see updates to how well your campaign is running and provides meaningful measurements for your business. Depending on the goals for the ad campaign and the types of ads that you decide to run, Google allows you to display this data results as a graphical representation, and it's viewable on your account's overview dashboard that we'll see in a second. For instance, with our team's nonprofit New Way Homes, our goal was to drive traffic to the business's landing page in hopes of increasing investment using the search ads. And so for our ad campaign, the most meaningful performance data that we could collect was the number of impressions, the clicks, the click-through rate, cost, and cost per click. Just so you guys can get some understanding of what that is. Impressions is just the number of times your ad actually appears. And then clicks is actually the number of times that your ad receives a click. And then the click-through rate is the actual ratio between the clicks to the impressions. So there are also a lot of other data like different conversions that can be tracked through by Google Ads, including things like purchases, signups, views, phone call leads, and downloads. Usually these are used in tandem with the Google Analytics or conversion tracking that you can link between your accounts. But unfortunately, we were not unable to do that. So next slide. So on this slide, we have the dashboard overview, an example of it. This is actually our ad campaign that we ran with New Way Homes. And as you can see, there's kind of a lot of stuff going on this. It seems a little bit confusing, but after you kind of get into it, you look around and you navigate through it a bit, it's really helpful in understanding the data and how beneficial Google Ads is actually for your business. So as you can see on the top here, there's a graph that displays our measurements that I previously indicated. And for our campaign, you can see we had nearly 9,000 impressions over the 3.5, 4 weeks that we've been running, 634 clicks, a total cost of almost $1,300 spent. And our click-through rate is amazing at 7.27%, which it seems not like a lot, but it's actually very good. Especially since it's required by Google Ads grants to maintain a click-through rate of at least 5% in order to continue to receive grants. So on the right here, you can also see the optimization score like Ryan had mentioned earlier. And this is based on the recommendations that are provided by Google itself. And it helps to aid you make the most efficient and effective campaigns. So you want to make sure that that actually is as high of a percent as you can possibly get it. And so all these measurements can also be seen not only as an overview here, but on the left side of the slide, you can see there's a bunch of levels here. And so you can actually see performance based on the campaign itself, and then step lower as an ad group. And you can see how well the ads themselves are performing. And lastly, the keywords that are extremely important. You can see how well those are performing based on quality score that it will give you through Google. So overall, we use this information really to determine the next actions to take with the campaign and see whether parts of the campaign need to be altered in different ways, such as the keywords or adding negative keywords based on search terms that people are currently using to look things up right now. And then the ads will reach them accordingly. And other than those measurements, there's actually a lot of other measurements and data that Google will display for you below this in the overview, and that includes demographics, location, and time of the people who are actually looking up these terms.
All right, so now we're going to move on to what we've learned throughout this whole process. And one of the most important things is how important it is to have a robust website. You really need the site links and having good SEO and great keywords that are within your website that will match the keywords you use in your Google ads. Google is so fancy, it can read your website very quickly when you put the link in there that the pages you're going to be linking to, and it knows exactly what's going on your website and how it translates into what your ads say. So it matches everything up, and having a really strong website is a really good idea if you're going in to make these Google ads. We also learned that from working with a client, we wanted to do as much as we could to help their goal of getting as much traffic to their crowdfunding campaign that they were running at this time. And it was interesting to try to adjust what we were doing in the ads to see how well it would relate to getting people to that crowdfunding campaign. And that's, again, where we learned how important the website is. And also timing, because they were running a crowdfunding campaign, it actually ends on April 30th coming up here. We kind of had a short window to try to see what we could do in that time to drive as much traffic to their website as possible. So it was really interesting. And on our next slide, we're actually going to see an example of the landing page that we had people going to. So this is an example of the original landing page, and this is on a full desktop screen. And we learned that when this is on a mobile app or a mobile phone, it's hard to see the buttons where it says learn more and invest, which takes people to the crowdfunding page or continue to website. So we noted that as being a bit of a problem because people want to do the least amount of work to get places on the internet. So when they got to this page, we were worried that they weren't actually seeing that there were options. So one thing that we suggested to our client was, what if we make a new landing page? And so on our next slide, we can see the new landing page that we helped them create, where now when you come to this, whether it's on a mobile or on a desktop, you're going to immediately see a button that says invest, and you're going to be able to learn a little bit more about who New Way Homes is, what impact investing is, before you make a decision to possibly go invest. And we were hoping that this also would help get some new keywords in there because we added some more content. We wrote some copy for them that was hopefully helpful in getting some more matchup between the keywords we have in Google and the keywords that are now kind of on their website with this new landing page. So this was one really beneficial thing that we were able to do for our client. And I think as time goes on, they'll be able to build out their website even more. And as they continue to run Google ads, it'll just keep matching up even better. So our next steps with them is to align our goals with them. We know that their crowdfunding campaign's ending. So one suggestion that we had was to allow them to keep using this Google Ads grant, because as long as they're above that 5% click-through rate, they're able to keep going and using that $10,000 that Google's giving them for free money. So we want them to be able to keep doing that. And creating a brand awareness campaign is one thing we're going to do for them before we are done with the semester. And I think that's going to be really helpful to just get more eyes on what this company's doing. And another thing that's going to be super useful for them is finalizing the conversion tracking. We have them working with their website guy right now, trying to get that set up. And that's going to be really useful to find out where people are going on their website. We wanted to have it set up so that if somebody clicked on the invest button and went off to the WeFunder page, that we would know that they clicked on that. So then the data that we have of not just clicks to their website, but now we know what's happening once they've gone to the website. Are they clicking to go to the WeFunder, or are they clicking to learn more? And all of that's going to be super helpful for New Way Homes as they're moving forward. And to wrap it up, one thing that we learned was it's super important to follow Google's rules and regulations. At one point, our client was hoping that we would be able to direct people directly to the WeFunder page. And if you notice on our data that we showed earlier, where the graph was going up, 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 and then it goes down and kind of has a flat spot, we actually had an issue where our campaign got shut down because we were trying to send people to WeFunder, and Google said, no, 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 you can't do that. You can only send people to your website. So it's super important to remember that. We're very lucky to get the campaign back live, and we rebounded from it really well and have had a ton of great data come in. So it was a small hiccup, but it's really important to look at the rules that Google wants you to use for their ad grants. And then also letting your campaign just go. Once you launched it, let it run. Google spends quite a bit of time actually learning bid strategies, learning which keywords, what people are searching. So letting your campaign run before you make changes is super, super important. And also Google has a recommendations tab. It's super great to follow those. They know what works on their ads and how to get people to click on things. So following what they suggest is super important. And then not being afraid to adjust your keywords. We noticed on ours that there was one keyword, we had a broad match keyword for housing in. So that was bringing up anytime somebody searched housing in Monterey or housing in New Jersey. And we realized that they weren't getting the results they wanted from our ad firing. So we turned that actually into a negative keyword. So when people search that, our ad's not going to show up. So those are really important to pay attention to as you see the data coming in and what's happening with your keywords. And then also don't be afraid to reach out to Google's support, because they were able to actually, like, I got on the phone with them one time and I'm like, can you help us? Like, we don't know why our ad's not firing right now. And we first started on chat and she's like, well, let me call you. And I talked to her on the phone and she had some great suggestions for how we could get things moving a little better. And we found that to be quite useful. So now we can take any questions that anyone has.
Nice job, folks. Let's see. There's a question in chat, which you may or may not be able to answer. The question is, how qualified was the traffic from the ads? Was there Hotjar tracking? Did you have any way in here of qualifying the leads coming from the ads?
So that is where the conversion tracking would have been super helpful if we had had that fully set up, because after people came to our website, we are unsure of what next steps they took. And we did not have Hotjar. I have not heard of that, and I would be interested to know more.
I was looking that up actually, and it doesn't look like Hotjar is compatible with tracking Google Ads. It looks like if you want to get that kind of information, you would have to use Google Analytics.
Okay. Yeah, we also had analytics connected to the campaign. So we need to definitely do a look of the crossover going on between the two, because that is connected to the website. So I'm sure once we look at that, we'll know more.
Cool. Do we have a question? Sham Kamath has a question. Sham? Need to unmute?
It's a really informational question. Who gets the $10,000 grant? How's that distributed?
So that's given to the nonprofit. When you set up this account with Google, they know that you have to register saying that you're a nonprofit, and Google is able to, you just don't enter any like credit card information or any bill information, and they recognize the account as being an ad grants account, and they just automatically preload your account with $10,000. You don't really see that on there, but it's also very unlikely that you'll spend the $10,000 every month, because Google does cap your bid at $2 when you're using the ad grants. So it's preloaded.
So for a $10,000 investment, Google gets all the data on the individuals who are interested.
Yes.
That's a cheap piece. So are you in favor of Australian rules in this area?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Are you in favor of what the Australian government did, that you've got to pay the folks who come on, so Google doesn't get a whole lot of free, including your labor, for free?
Oh, I hadn't heard about that. I'm going to have to look into that.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
So I see another comment in chat here saying Google Ads grant originally had a team of 9 Googlers volunteering their time to support nonprofits. Pre-COVID, the team was reduced to 3 staff members, and the Google Ad grants originally opened at $50,000 level. So interesting history on there. And Moira says, if you have a TechSoup account, it will take about 10 minutes to get qualified. TechSoup is a free organization to get discounted technology, hardware, software, etc. So there's another tip.
Yeah, TechSoup works with Google.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That was great. Good tee up with our first group. And so New Way Homes will be followed by the group who we're doing Cape USA. Let me get this into present mode. Take it away, Cape USA.
Good evening, everybody. We had the opportunity to work with Cape USA. My name is Alexis. Presenting here with me today, I have Blake, Bridget, and Drew. Next slide.
Oops, sorry. There we go.
Just to give you a quick overview, CAPE stands for a Coalition of Asian Pacifics in Entertainment. The organization was founded in 1991 by film producer and executive Chris Lee, television producer and executive Wanda Fong, and publicist Fritz Friedman. The organization gives a voice to Asian American Pacific Islanders in the entertainment industry by offering them educational programs, opportunities to emerging and established actors, writers, directors, producers, agents, and executives. Next slide. CAPE's mission is to educate Asian American and Pacific Islanders through CAPE's New Writers Fellowship and Leaders Fellowship programs. The New Writers Fellowship program helps new writers who are starting their journey and careers in television and film. The Leaders Fellowship program helps the next generation of executives by training them in the arts of communication, leadership, pitching, and other skills. CAPE is also involved with the community by supporting community-based organizations in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and Atlanta. This helps bring awareness and to light of the increase in violence of Asian communities.
So during some initial research, we took a look at CAPE's website and social media and found these campaign possibilities. We set ourselves goals that helped generate what types of campaigns we wanted to run. The three goals we set were creating awareness, increasing donations, and increasing subscriptions. When it comes to creating awareness, we wanted to emphasize in areas such as website traffic and actively tracking changes within the website traffic, total impressions, clicks, and CTR, and conveying their message. Donations are also an emphasis we wanted to focus on during this. We wanted to focus on fundraising goals, tracking donations on their website, and target profile for donators. We also wanted to increase subscriptions to CAPE. We will do this through utilize ad grants to recruit more volunteers, as well as tracking volunteer signups as conversions on their website. Next slide, please.
Another part of our pre-planning process was narrowing down our target audience. We created specific personas for who we want our ads to reach, groups such as studio executives, philanthropists, and student activists. And by going through this exercise, it helped us focus on the specific needs and interests of those audiences, which led to a clear idea of what landing pages we wanted to use and what search words our audiences might be using. Next slide, please. The third phase of our pre-planning process and most important part of the process was meeting Gordon Ho and Rianne Moore from CAPE USA. Gordon and Rianne brought an immense amount of insight into CAPE's target audience, keywords that CAPE was already using in their marketing strategies, and their overall goals of what they wanted to achieve through this program. And because of that insight, it allowed us to build on the strengths that we found during our research, find other strengths from Gordon and Rianne's perspectives, and address what else we could do to really boost the campaign. Next slide. For example, we had multiple suggestions for alterations of landing pages on the website. Some of them were as simple as moving around headers, for better readability, and adding call to action buttons for subscriptions. And others were a little larger projects, like adding full paragraphs to pages that didn't really have any content for Google to catalog. Next slide. So for example, in this page, this is a picture of CAPE's screenwriter database page, which displays a monstrous amount of talent and assets for CAPE USA. But because it's missing readable content for Google, it won't be ranked as high as other pages on the site, making it less of an asset for the ad campaign. But addressing those issues with Gordon and Rianne allowed us to set goals, strategies, and experiments to try throughout the campaign. Next slide.
So now we kind of want to give you guys a framework of how we did this. So in developing the keywords, which is a big portion of the work that you do in the Google Ads UI, you kind of have to sit down before you even get there and think, okay, what are we going to do to come up with this stuff? So we talked about already, Bridget talked about the customer profiles that we were making. So we kind of just named the profile, let's say student, and then we thought, okay, what are their interests? What's their age and demographic? And then based on that information, we kind of guessed the associated keywords, like, are they an activist? So would they Google ways to help AAPI communities? Or do they want to be a part of the New Writers Fellowship? So we'd send them that direction with a screenwriter keyword or phrase. And then we had a second strategy that had more to do with the campaign types that we were creating. So we created a website traffic campaign and a donation campaign. The website traffic is mainly for getting people on there, kind of spreading the word of CAPE. And those individuals can go all sorts of different ways, kind of increasing exposure. And with that, we kind of ask, okay, you have to go back and ask, what does CAPE do? Why do they do it? How do they do it? And what is their mission? So those inform the campaign descriptions basically. And then we find the associated keywords with that as well. We just make an exhaustive list of 30 to 50 keywords per little section. And then what basically, those are just best guesses. The refinement for those keywords comes a week after launch. So you kind of just let it sit, and then you get all these keywords, you get searches, and you say, okay, what's working, what's not. And then you can kind of go through that like we're going to get into in a little bit. Next slide. So next, what we did is we tried to figure out what pages we're going to send them to, the landing pages. We had several criteria for this. You can have more depending upon what you want to accomplish. But one of the criteria was having enough text for SEO and having quality keywords within that text. That really helps Google. Another criteria was, is the page central to the objective of the organization? And another is the page synergistic with the goal of the campaign type that we are running. So if you look at the screenshot, the performance for these pages as of the 25th of April, we see at the top there, it's www.capeusa.im story. That site actually has a large amount of text, and it has a lot of creative content, and we were actually able to send quite a few people there. And it has a 7% CTR, which is above average for our campaigns. Next slide.
So our week one results, the ads brought almost 500 people to the site. We are now in the stage of adding or altering keywords to generate better quality leads. We are also considering either starting another campaign, implementing more ad groups. We also believe we can still do more to increase the CTR. We're not using all of the budget, which gives us some wiggle room. And we are also thinking of changing headlines to improve CTR as well.
So going forward, like Drew was talking about, we're going to review the keywords. We're going to expand the keywords that we have. And then we're also potentially going to add another ad group. Next slide. So with reviewing the keywords, you want to check on the performance of each. And the way you do that is you go and you look at the impressions, the CTR, the clicks, and the average CPC. Cost, we're not too worried about because we're not spending any of our money, our CAPE's money. That can be more efficient. You can adjust the efficiency of that later on. But for now, it's okay where it is. So if you look at the education keyword, you'll notice that it has a 4.55% CTR, and it only has one click, as well as almost $2 in cost. That keyword is probably not the keyword that we want to use. We're not generating a lot of impressions, and we're definitely not getting a lot of clicks. So we'd either pause that or change it in some way. Another strategy for reviewing the keywords is changing the match modifiers, as well as emphasizing phrases instead of single keywords. So I have highlighted down there script writing. We decided on script writing because that is potentially a part of their goals as an organization. And the match type is basically a modifier that says, okay, the with a broad match modifier, it pulls words that are similar to what the keyword is. But with phrase and exact, the phrase match has to have the words next to each other, script writing, in order to actually get someone to the site. Next slide. So going on to keyword expansions, Google has a really cool feature, and you can see what people searched to get to your website. If you look at the search term Netflix, we were a little surprised to see that there because this site isn't Netflix and we don't want to send people that are searching for Netflix to CAPE. So what we did is we actually excluded that word. We made that a negative keyword. So it will not be used to send people there. We also did this with the other various spellings that people do because people will misspell searches. And then the opposite side of that, we have the term Hollywood. We believe that this fit with the theme of the organization, and we saw that people were searching it to get to us, and we added that as an exact match. And as you can see, the CTR on the right-hand side is 7.21%, which is where it needs to be. Next slide. So yeah, like we said, there's more budget to spend. We get 10K and we're only at 10% of that in the 2 weeks that we've been running it. So there's more campaigns, more ad groups that we could add. There's more keywords that we could add. There's efficiencies that we can put in place to expand that. So there's a lot of wiggle room as discussed. Next slide. And the third strategy for going forward is the addition of another ad group. The Stop Asian Hate movement has had quite a bit of a moment in the spotlight in recent times, if you've seen the news. And on CAPE's website, they support Stop Asian Hate movement, and we want to do what we can to send people there to potentially donate. So we're going to put this in the donation campaign. And so we're going to use keywords that are associated with this movement as well as keywords that are contained within the website to send people here. And hopefully we can set up conversion tracking for this as well to check on the quality of those leads. Next slide. Thank you. Are there any questions?
That's great. Nice work. Great job of presenting the results and how that all worked. Gordon, you have any comments for us?
Yeah.
No, it's good. Thank you for all the great work the team has done. Much appreciated, and look forward to I think part of it is just test and learn. So that's what's so exciting about what you guys are doing. And I agree, the Stop Asian Hate movement is something that we can tap into. Certainly it's very relevant, and really appreciate all the efforts that you've done and the continued effort. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Gordon, for letting us use your nonprofit.
Yeah, and I see Rian is here. Hey, Rian, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, and thank you so much for your work into this.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks to both of you for making this possible for the students, and thanks to the students for doing great work with it. Okay, that was our second group, and if I can get there we go, to cooperate, we'll hear from the third group who worked with Casa of Monterey. Whoops, that's not what I hit the wrong button. There we go. All right.
Okay, so hello, good evening, everyone. Our group was partnered with a nonprofit organization called Core Appointed for Special Advocate, other known as CASA, to creating our digital advertising campaigns for CASA of Monterey County. Our group consists of Elizabeth Chavez, Sonia Paderes, Jordan Garcia Vasquez, and myself. Next slide.
Yeah, I'm trying. There we go.
Yeah, no worries. So the nonprofit overview. So CASA of Monterey County improves the lives of children in the foster care system. So by pairing them with trained volunteers who advocate for them and stand by their side as stable adults that they can count on. They are currently located in Salinas, California. They have 9 employees and 140 volunteers at any time. They were first established in the year of 1995 and have been operating for 25 years now. Their mission is to train and support community volunteers who advocate for abused or neglected children placed in the foster care system, upholding the children's rights while pursuing a safe and permanent home. Next slide, please.
So now I'll be talking a little about the Google ad campaign goals that we have set for CASA. So prior to setting any campaign goals, we met with Beth Wilbur, the executive director of CASA, and Dana Petrinsky, the volunteer recruitment marketing and training manager for CASA. And in these meetings, we discuss what they hope to achieve by running this Google ad campaigns. And we have set 2 main goals that CASA wants to accomplish. The first one is to recruit and train new volunteers. They hope to target more retired individuals, young professionals, and more bilingual volunteers that live in the Salinas, Soledad area. And the second goal is to spread awareness of Casa of Monterey by enhancing social media presence and increasing the website traffic of the Casa website. Next slide.
So after the meetings that we had with both Beth and Dana, our team got together and brainstormed ideas of what we could do to help them achieve their goals. And the first one was to create a campaign that just promoted brand awareness for CASA Monterey County, because not a lot of people know about it or that it's a service available for children in foster care. And within that campaign, we wanted to create several different ads that were geared toward different parts of their nonprofit and different landing pages on their website. So one would be geared towards current events, another towards donations, and then another one about just general information on CASA and what CASA is. And then the second campaign was specifically geared toward recruiting more volunteers. And within that campaign, we wanted to create more targeted ads for retirees and young professionals. So going more in depth about the design of those campaigns is pretty straightforward and kind of like a pyramid, if you will, like they're all building blocks that help one another and help strengthen your overall ad. So we created the 2 campaigns. One is just called CASA of Monterey County. And that, like I said, consists of advertisement geared towards our current events, donations, and also, the last one was just general brand awareness about CASA. And the ad groups within that campaign include responsive search ads and expanded text ads. And then just like this one with which is displayed on the screen, the volunteer campaign consists of 2 ad groups that are specifically for retirees and young professionals. And within all of the 5 different ads that we have in total, we have specific keywords that are geared towards each advertisement, and each one has keywords from the website directly. So that way it helps Google link the 2 to one another and generate more web traffic.
So the graph that you see on the screen represents the 2 campaigns and how they are been performing since yesterday afternoon. Our campaigns have an average of 6% click-through rate, 845 impressions, and an average cost per click of $1.76. And so far we've only spent $90. So we're hoping to improve that in the future with CASA.
So displayed here is a breakdown of how individuals are viewing our Google ads. There's an average of 86% for our cost impressions and clicks by way of computer, and then an average of 1.9% via tablets, and then 11.7% via mobile devices. So one opportunity that we have is to try to increase our clicks and impressions in those 2 categories, tablets and mobile devices. And this is a breakdown of our ads as they are, how they are performing individually. This is a breakdown. This image is from yesterday morning. And as you can see, our CASA of Monterey general brand awareness ads is doing really well, but our volunteering campaign has been having minimal impact. So our goal is to improve both of these campaigns. That way they can continue to be an asset to CASA after our course is complete.
So finally, our execution. Here are 2 examples of what our campaign actually looks like. So the first image is an example of an advertisement displayed via a desktop. And the second image is an example of what our advertisements look like on a mobile device. So when creating our ads, Our team and our clients agreed that we wanted our ads to have an emotional appeal to them. We wanted our ads to encourage and motivate individuals to get involved and make a difference in their community.
In conclusion, our team has been able to collaborate with CASA of Monterey County to build brand awareness by creating effective ads and utilizing tools such as Google's Keyword Planner to attract the right audience and encourage individuals in the surrounding area to volunteer for their local CASA program. And going forward, our team has set a couple of goals and expectations for ourselves on how we want to improve our ads currently. But in addition to that, we also want to create a new campaign for an upcoming charity event in October that CASA is hosting. Normally, they host two events each year, but because of COVID, things have been different. But in October, they're going to host an outdoor golfing tournament. So we've been talking about that with them and how they're going to create additional website landing pages for that, so that way we can create an effective ad to just kind of generate more interest, and even have people outside of CASA join in on that event to build brand awareness. And then we're going to just continue to constantly add keywords and phrases to enhance the performance of the current campaigns. And just before this meeting that we're having now, we actually checked, and our volunteer campaign is actually gaining a little bit more traction slowly because we have been constantly adding those keywords and phrases to help with that. And then lastly, we're going to finalize the conversion tracking with CASA Monterey's website to our advertisements. So that way, when individuals see the volunteer ads, it can link them directly to the volunteer page on their website, and they can sign up that way. And then even for events that they have, they can use those events to sign up and attend. So that'll be a great way for Beth and Dana and CASA to keep track of where their volunteers are coming from, where individuals and maybe future donors are coming from as well. So those are our goals, and that concludes our presentation of how we implemented Google Ads to help CASA of Monterey County. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'd love to try to answer them as best as we can.
Excellent. Well done. Any questions? So that's our three groups. They did fabulous work. You can see they're still in the midst of their campaign. So these campaigns will get even better as they go. Anybody have any final questions or thoughts for the students or the clients? Anybody else? This is great. So let me then come back to my primary slide deck. So I want to make sure. Yeah. You all got some high praise there from the chair, from Mary Lou Shockley. So great work, everybody. Very well presented.
Brad, I'd like to congratulate everyone on an excellent job. This was scintillating. It is honors class, so fantastic. Well done, everyone. Keep up the great work. This is really pushing us way ahead in teaching and learning. So thank you.
Yeah, and
thank
it's
you very
just
much.
fascinating. And a huge thank you also to the three nonprofits who obviously, if you will, profited from the work that the students did, but we appreciate them all working with the students and providing guidance. And Gordon actually came into class and did an excellent talk about digital marketing. So they really added value to everybody here. I just love working with this digital marketing seminar. And thanks to my co-instructors, Jenny Lynn and Jenny Kwan, for all the effort that they put in this semester also.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the three nonprofits and of course the three of you for creating this wonderful class, which is really terrific. So thank you, all of you.
Great. So thanks to all. So we do this, by the way, twice a year. We run the digital marketing seminar in the fall semester and the spring semester. And toward the end of the semester, we bring them in to do a presentation in the digital marketing meetup. So keep your eyes peeled for future editions. For those of you interested in these programs, here's a link so the marketing immersion program is what the students were doing, the student side of this. They get certified in Google Ads, so they are all certified Google Adders now. And then they get paired with a nonprofit organization to implement the 4-week ad campaign, which they're in the middle of. And then for any nonprofits in the audience or nonprofits that you know of, there's a link to the Google Ad Grants program, which is open to, Bridget says, I think the proper term is Googlyites. Googlyites? Googlyites. I think that's how it is. Cool. This is a great program for nonprofit organizations. And that's all for tonight. We're coming to a close. One of the things I always ask people to do at the end of these is to put in chat, and I won't let you leave until you do this. You have to put in chat a topic that you'd like to hear the Digital Marketing Meetup address in the future. So please drop your ideas there so we know what to feature. In May, we're going to be doing customer first website design. How do you design your websites? What's a process to use to design your website so that you're not showing people what you want them to see, just that, but they're getting to find what they're looking for when they come to your website, because after all, that's why they come to your website, is to get to see what they want to see. That will be on May 25th at 6 o'clock. You'll be able to register on Eventbrite. We will have a recording of this meetup available on our website. It usually takes a few days to get that turned around, but it will be available, as will the slide decks. There was a question about whether the slide decks would be available. Thank you all very much. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. It's nice. We're now far enough into the season that it's not pitch black like it usually is when we get to the end of this. So I'm going to go play outside, and everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you all again. Thanks, everybody.